Welcome back to my YouTube channel. We uncover the astonishing stories behind seemingly ordinary coins that have turned into priceless treasures. And today we are diving into one of the most remarkable and financially staggering cases in the world of numismatics, the legendary 1975 D1 cent coin that has recently made headlines for commanding an astronomical value of $18 million, a figure that has stunned collectors, investors, and historians alike. And as we unravel the layers of its mystique, its rare minting anomalies, production errors, historical context, and the almost mythical journey it undertook from a Denver Mint conveyor belt into the vaults of multi-million-dollar collections, we begin to understand how a simple copper-plated zinc coin, often overlooked in everyday transactions, could achieve such breathtaking worth. And as we trace its roots back to 1975, a year when the United States was experiencing a blend of economic flux and bicentennial anticipation, the Denver Mint, known for its precision, somehow allowed the creation of a batch of Lincoln cents that were far from ordinary, beginning with what many experts believe was a rare die clash error combined with a striking anomaly involving an off-center strike so unusual that it resulted in a crescent-shaped margin of blank planchette showing along the obverse side, yet retaining nearly full design visibility, which only magnified the coin's peculiarity and mystique. And it didn't stop there, as further magnification under professional numismatic scrutiny revealed an unexpected doubling on Lincoln's profile, particularly noticeable on the jawline, nose bridge, and the "In God We Trust" motto, suggesting a dramatic case of double die obverse, but not the typical DDO seen in other years. Instead, this doubling appeared ghost-like and inconsistent, possibly caused by a rare hybrid form of machine doubling and hub doubling occurring simultaneously, a freakish result of misaligned mechanical timing within the minting presses. And then came the most baffling twist. On the reverse side, the Lincoln memorial appeared skewed ever so slightly to the left, as if the entire die had rotated microscopically before each impact, causing an effect now being labeled by elite graders as a microrotational reverse misalignment, a condition not previously documented on any known 1975 D specimens, which alone would have set this coin apart, but coupled with the presence of multiple die cracks fanning out from the base of the memorial steps, it painted a picture of a minting process in which the die itself may have been nearing catastrophic failure, resulting in a once-in-a-generation set of flawed coins, most of which would have been culled by mint inspectors. Yet somehow this particular cent made its way past the scrutiny, surviving the odds and landing in circulation. And if that wasn't enough to merit attention, the surface composition analysis conducted by a private lab revealed trace elements inconsistent with standard 1975 copper alloy formulations, including unusually high concentrations of tin and nickel, prompting theories that this planchette may have been an experimental leftover from a different compositional trial, possibly one from the 1974 aluminum cent experiments or a misallocated foreign planchette batch, leading many to speculate that this 1975 D1 cent may not only be error-laden but also a product of clandestine or unintended metallurgical origins, which instantly launched it into the rarefied strata of minting history. And collectors began to speculate further when provenance records traced its first known appearance to a 1981 estate sale in rural Colorado, where it was purchased in a jar of loose change for less than $1, changing hands through flea markets, local dealers, and small-time collectors for decades until finally being identified for its true value in early 2025 when it was submitted to a top-tier grading service and received a staggering MS-65 grade despite its obvious flaws, which in this case elevated its uniqueness instead of devaluing it. And what followed was a feeding frenzy among elite collectors, institutional investors, and museum curators, with competitive offers pouring in from around the globe, particularly from coin investors in Hong Kong, London, and Zurich, eventually culminating in a secretive high-stakes private auction where a mysterious collector, believed to be a retired tech billionaire, secured the coin for a record-breaking $18 million, citing its unmatched convergence of error types, historical mystery, and condition rarity. And the buzz didn't end there, as the coin's story began making waves across international media, being featured in documentaries, podcast series, and high-profile numismatic journals which dissected every flaw, crack, and misalignment under forensic detail, further deepening the intrigue surrounding it. And even now, coin experts debate the full extent of its anomalies, with some arguing that the coin may possess unclassified planchet irregularities that hint at experimental mint activities not publicly acknowledged by the US Mint, while others point to the possibility of it being a transitional error between different metal compositions or even a rogue pattern piece struck unofficially, thus raising questions about what else may have been produced behind closed doors during that decade. And meanwhile, this particular coin continues to generate value not just from its physical characteristics but also from its incredible narrative arc, spanning over 4 decades, surviving pockets, drawers, and dealers before emerging as one of the most valuable cents in US history, and its story inspires thousands of collectors to revisit their change jars and forgotten coin rolls in hopes of discovering similar minting marvels, proving once again that even the humblest object can ascend to greatness when shaped by error, chance, and history. And as the community continues to speculate on whether more of these extraordinary 1975 D cents exist in hidden collections or unsearched bank rolls, the demand and market value only continue to rise, fueled by auctions, expert appraisals, and the tantalizing dream that lightning might strike twice. So if you ever find a 1975 D cent with even the slightest imperfection, remember the tale of the $18 million penny that defied logic and minting precision to become an icon in the world of coin collecting. And who knows, you might just be holding the next great discovery in your hand, a small copper coin with a big story waiting to be told. Next, 1987 1-cent USA coin that uncovers the most astonishing, mind-bending, and financially shocking stories in the world of rare coins, where seemingly ordinary pocket change transforms into multi-million-dollar treasures. And today we explore the truly unbelievable saga of the 1987 1-cent coin that was once lost among countless copper-plated pieces of American currency but has now made headlines across the globe for its jaw-dropping value of $17 million, a figure that has sent waves through the numismatic community and captured the imagination of collectors and investors alike. And as we delve deeper into this extraordinary tale, we will reveal how a combination of rare mint errors, metallurgical anomalies, production mishaps, and historical circumstances converged to create what many now consider one of the rarest and most sought-after modern pennies in existence. And it all begins with a coin that at first glance appeared completely average, a Lincoln cent. Minted in 1987 during a period when the United States Mint had already transitioned from the earlier copper alloy composition to a copper-plated zinc planchet, and yet this specific coin, struck at the Philadelphia Mint, turned out to be anything but typical. And as the story goes, this 1987 cent was discovered decades later by a collector who had been searching through thousands of coins, meticulously examining each one for possible signs of errors, when he came across a strange-looking cent that immediately raised questions due to its slightly off coloration, a dull silvery hue that contrasted with the typical reddish-copper appearance of most post-1982 Lincoln cents. And upon closer inspection, he realized the coin exhibited a range of unbelievable anomalies that made it a unique marvel in the world of coinage, starting with what experts call a double denomination error, in which the coin was initially struck as a dime and then overstruck with the Lincoln cent design, a highly improbable scenario that occurs only when a previously struck coin of one denomination is mistakenly fed back into the press and struck again with dies for a different denomination, resulting in overlapping design features that clearly show remnants of both. And in this case, under strong magnification and with the aid of advanced imaging technology, numismatists were able to identify traces of the Roosevelt dime profile behind Lincoln's image on the obverse side, as well as fragments of the torch and olive branch from the dime's reverse beneath the Lincoln memorial on the back, creating a surreal and unintentional fusion of two coins into one. But the surprises didn't stop there, as further analysis revealed that this cent was also a dramatic off-center strike, with the design elements shifted so severely that nearly 30% of the coin's blank surface remained untouched, forming an unusual crescent-shaped margin that left collectors in awe. And as if that weren't enough, the coin displayed a major die clash error, where the obverse and reverse dies came into contact without a planchet in between, causing portions of the reverse design to be imprinted in mirror image onto the obverse die and vice versa, resulting in a ghost-like impression of the Lincoln memorial appearing behind Lincoln's profile. And while die clashes are not uncommon, the depth and clarity of this one were so distinct that it has been compared to some of the most iconic die clash examples in numismatic history, including the famous Bugs Bunny Franklin $50, and moving beyond the obvious errors. A metallurgical analysis conducted by independent laboratories revealed that the planchet used for this coin did not match the standard copper-plated zinc composition of 1987 cents but instead contained trace amounts of manganese and nickel, suggesting that it may have been a leftover experimental planchet from a prior minting test or a mistakenly used foreign coin blank, possibly intended for another denomination or even another country's coinage altogether. And that raises the possibility that this coin is not only error-ridden but also a rare off-metal strike, making it an even more significant outlier in the world of modern coins. And the intrigue surrounding the 1987 1-cent piece continued to grow as researchers began to study the mint records from that year and discovered that a limited number of dies had to be replaced mid-year due to rapid deterioration, possibly linked to mechanical malfunctions that could have led to the creation of extreme minting errors like the ones seen in this coin. And speculation abounds that this particular cent may have been struck during a brief window of time when die misalignments, planchet feed issues, and press calibration problems were converging, creating a perfect storm for a once-in-a-lifetime minting mistake. And for decades this cent went unnoticed, circulating among millions of others, possibly passed from hand to hand in transactions involving groceries, gasoline, or coffee, until fate placed it in the hands of a determined collector whose keen eye and experience led to its eventual discovery and submission to a professional grading service, where it was encapsulated and authenticated not just as a mint error but as one of the most significant modern error coins ever recorded, earning a designation that instantly made it a must-have for elite collectors. And what followed was a frenzied bidding war among top-tier numismatists, museum curators, and wealthy investors from across the globe, with offers pouring in from private collectors in Japan, the United Arab Emirates, and Germany, all eager to possess what was quickly being dubbed the Chimera cent for its bizarre hybrid features and unparalleled uniqueness, and eventually it was sold in a high-profile private auction for $17 million, setting a record for a modern US cent and catapulting this previously anonymous coin into numismatic legend. And the story of the 1987 cent continues to inspire awe and curiosity, as new theories emerge about its origins, with some experts arguing that it may have been the result of a rogue mint employee experimenting with presses, or possibly a specimen from an undocumented transitional phase between die designs or blank compositions, and still others believe it to be part of a secret batch of experimental strikes that were never meant to leave the mint, making its existence in public circulation all the more miraculous. And its tale has sparked renewed interest in the cents of the 1980s, a period often overlooked by collectors in favor of older, more traditional coins, but now seen as fertile ground for incredible discoveries, and collectors around the world are now scouring their change jars, coin rolls, and old collections in hopes of finding another like it, examining their 1987 cents with loupes and microscopes, searching for signs of doubling, die clashes, off-metal compositions, and off-center strikes that might hint at hidden value. And this renaissance in modern cent collecting has not only revitalized the hobby but has also led to a re-evaluation of what makes a coin valuable, with rarity and historical context now being considered alongside condition and age. And in the case of the $17 million 1987 cent, it is the stunning convergence of multiple error types, coupled with its mysterious origins and unlikely survival, that have made it a true numismatic unicorn. A singular artifact that stands as a testament to the unpredictability of minting and the endless potential of everyday coins to harbor hidden fortunes. And as the legend of this coin grows, so too does the community of those who seek to uncover the next great treasure, driven by the knowledge that sometimes, tucked within a forgotten drawer or nestled among ordinary pennies, there may lie a coin whose story has yet to be told, a coin whose flaws are its greatest strength, and whose value defies imagination. Just like the extraordinary 1987 1 cent that proved a mistake can be worth $17 million. Last 1997 1 cent USA coin, the ordinary becomes extraordinary, where pocket change turns into priceless history, and where every cent has a story more valuable than anyone could have imagined. And today we are diving deep into one of the most mind-blowing tales in the world of numismatics, the astounding case of a 1997 1 cent coin that has stunned collectors, historians, investors, and experts alike by achieving an unimaginable valuation of $16 million, not because it's made of gold or encrusted with diamonds, but because of a series of extremely rare and virtually undocumented minting errors and historical anomalies that transformed what was meant to be a common Lincoln cent into one of the most fascinating and valuable coins in existence. And it all started in a year most coin collectors would never suspect, 1997, a relatively quiet period in US mint history, long after the dramatic composition changes of the early 1980s and before the major design overhauls of the 21st century. And yet hidden within that year's production was a coin so unique, so accidentally perfect in its imperfection, that it would go on to change the way people look at modern pennies forever. And what makes this particular cent worth $16 million is not one single error, but rather a convergence of multiple, highly improbable mistakes that all occurred on the same coin, beginning with what many experts believe is one of the most extreme cases of off-metal striking ever found in a modern US cent, because rather than being struck on the standard copper-plated zinc planchette that became the norm after 1982, this coin appears to have been minted on a foreign bronze planchette possibly intended for another country's coinage, based on metallurgical analysis which revealed elevated levels of tin and a complete absence of the zinc core normally present in cents from that era, and this suggests that during the planchette sorting phase, a stray blank from a foreign contract might have found its way into the US Mint's production process, either due to equipment malfunction, human oversight, or a combination of both, and the result was a planchette that not only gave the coin an unusual reddish-gold hue but also altered the weight and tonal resonance of the piece when dropped, setting it apart immediately to the trained eye and ear of the coin world. But that was just the beginning of its anomalies, as further scrutiny revealed that this coin was also dramatically misaligned during the striking process, with a severe off-center strike that pushed the obverse image of Abraham Lincoln partially off the coin's edge, leaving a thick blank crescent along one side, while still maintaining enough of the date and mint mark to confirm its origin and year. And off-center strikes of this magnitude are rare on their own, but this one combined with another highly prized error known as a broad strike, in which the retaining collar that normally holds the coin's shape during striking was missing or failed, allowing the planchette to spread wider than usual under the force of the press, creating a coin that is not only misaligned but also slightly larger in diameter than a typical cent, with smoothed edges and a stretched, warped appearance that makes it immediately obvious even to casual observers that something went drastically wrong at the mint. And if that weren't enough, this particular cent also displayed a dramatic example of a doubled die obverse, a condition in which the die used to strike the coin had been improperly prepared and contained a slightly shifted duplicate image of the design, resulting in ghost-like doubling most noticeably on the date, the letters in Liberty, and the phrase "In God We Trust." And doubled dies are always in high demand among collectors because they represent flaws in the die creation process rather than mechanical issues during striking, making them rarer and more significant, and in this case, the doubling was unusually strong and clear, particularly for a coin minted in the late 1990s, a period not widely known for such dramatic die issues, which further elevated the coin's uniqueness and desirability. And yet the story of the 1997 1 cent doesn't end with surface errors alone, because under microscopic examination, analysts discovered an intricate network of die cracks snaking across both sides of the coin, with one particularly large and raised crack running diagonally across Lincoln's bust and continuing into the field of the coin, almost like a lightning bolt cutting across the design. And die cracks occur when the minting dies begin to fail due to excessive use or stress, causing hairline fissures that appear on coins as raised, irregular lines, and while common in small degrees, the extent and visibility of these die cracks on this particular cent were far beyond typical examples, indicating that the die was nearing complete failure at the time of this strike, possibly even cracking completely shortly afterward, which would have rendered it unusable and likely scrapped. And this raises the possibility that this coin was one of the final strikes from that die pair, a so-called terminal die state coin, which carries special significance among specialists because it marks the end of a die's working life and captures the final moments of its flawed output, making it a sort of historical time capsule in the life of that particular piece of minting equipment. And as if all these errors weren't enough, the reverse of the coin contained a partial brokerage error, in which the impression from a previously struck coin that failed to eject properly was transferred onto a new planchette, creating a mirror image partial design on one side of the coin that overlays the expected design in a way that appears both chaotic and beautiful. And this partial brokerage, combined with the broad strike, off-center strike, double die cracks, and off-metal. Planchette created a coin so uniquely flawed that it defied conventional classification, prompting leading grading services to issue a new combined error designation for it, something rarely seen in the world of numismatics, and after being authenticated and encapsulated in a high-profile event that drew the attention of major media outlets, this coin was presented to the public through a special showcase by a prominent numismatic society, where it was hailed as the most significant Lincoln cent discovery of the decade, and eventually it was offered at a highly competitive private auction attended by elite collectors, museum representatives, and wealthy investors from around the world, including tech entrepreneurs, royalty, and even Hollywood celebrities known for their rare coin collections, and after an intense bidding war, the coin sold for an astounding $16 million, shattering previous records for modern-era coins and cementing its place in the annals of American numismatic history, and since then, the legend of the 1997 1 cent has inspired a wave of new interest in modern mint eras, with collectors young and old now scouring their pocket change, coin rolls, and long-forgotten boxes in hopes of finding another such anomaly, and its story has been featured in documentaries, academic journals, and countless articles analyzing every microscopic detail, from the specific die pair that struck it to the unusual characteristics of its metallic composition. And theories continue to emerge about how such a coin could have slipped through the rigorous quality control of the US Mint, with some suggesting it may have been the result of an overnight or weekend shift when supervision was lower, while others propose it could have been an experimental strike never meant for circulation, possibly even struck intentionally by a mint employee as a one-off curiosity, and regardless of its origins, what remains undeniable is the impact this coin has had on the hobby, serving as both a reminder and a beacon, a reminder that even in the age of advanced automation and precision manufacturing, mistakes still happen, and those mistakes can lead to unimaginable value, and a beacon to all collectors that the next great treasure could be out there, hiding in plain sight, waiting to be discovered by someone with the curiosity to look closely and the knowledge to recognize what others might overlook. And so the 1997 1 cent lives on not just as a coin but as a legend, a modern miracle of minting that turned flaws into fortune and elevated a humble penny into the realm of multi-million-dollar masterpieces.